Hello, Minifans. Welcome back to Minifandom. I must start off by apologizing. It's been over 2 months since the last Minifandom. I've been doing a lot of Menas Live. I've been really focused on the Menas Minifan network and delivering great content, but Minifandom itself has kind of taken a back seat. The last episode was with John and Warren. But, what better way to kick things off again after a break with one of my fellow countrymen, a man who looks up to me. He's often told me privately I'm a bit of a role model. I'm talking, of course, the host of Open Borders, Jackson from Australia. Jackson, welcome to Minifandom.
Thanks for having me. Number one host of Open Borders. Can I just say, firstly, though, you say you've been so busy with all your content. I mean, we're lucky to get one Menas Live a week, and your network has one show.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one Menas Live a week is quite a significant undertaking with the amount of commitments I've got at the moment. So you should be happy with that. And I've been supporting 3 Up, 3 Down, which is a great show. I've obviously, So look, things are humming along on the Menas Minifan network. Did try and do a Minifandom last week, a show with Andy Mayo, and unfortunately he couldn't make it. He got sick in inverted commas, and so therefore that was shit canned, which I think is a win for the fans, because I think most fans, Jackson, would rather hear from you.
Sure. Do you think Mayo's a little scared of your combative Menas? Is that what
No, I don't think
he's. I know behind the scenes you guys are best buddies.
No, he's not scared of me. He's scared of himself, because he knows the more he talks, the more chance there is of him saying something incredibly stupid that triggers either Kirk or the whole Minifans. So that's why I think he didn't do it. But he said he said he had some like infection in his cheek, and it was like full of pus, and he had to have it drained, which makes sense.
I guess he kind of is just fat, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, big time. He's
Does that mean BA has infections in both his cheeks?
I don't know. He's got something. There's a lot of swelling. I don't know where the swellings come from, but is it gigantism? Is that a disease where your head just starts to get bigger and bigger? That's what's happening with BA.
I think so. I might prod next time I speak to him.
What was that? You might bring it up.
I might prod next time I speak to him. Yeah, my internet shit as well. So we saw yours earlier today or yesterday.
No, your internet's fine. So yeah, for context, listeners, we're recording this. Well, it's late afternoon Sydney time. It's so refreshing to record with another Australian who's in my time zone.
And nice, it's 5 p.m.
Exactly. And you know what I've worked out? Americans don't understand time difference. Like, they just think everyone's on the same time zone. They're all such fucking dumb yokel hicks over there. They don't even know where Australia is, most of them.
Some of them don't believe we exist.
Yep.
The effort we put into this. I mean, I know you're more a night owl and doing recordings at like whatever hours for these guys. I mean, we're doing 3 Up, 3 Down with Kane. I think that was at 7 a.m. my time, maybe 8 a.m.
Yep,
Borders, we record around the same time. I mean, it's tough. We put in a lot of effort, and we just, as a country, we cop the shit. So
yes, our country is better.
Sometimes you have it with.
Yeah, and people don't understand, like, Minifans in America don't understand. Their evening is my morning, like when we're supposed to be working and doing stuff. Like, if it's our fault for liking this podcast. I get it. I mean, we could be Hamish and Andy fans instead, and then everything would be on our time zone, but we wouldn't be as happy. So it's a joke for me.
Nice
Jackson.
reference.
Yeah. But it's harder for us. Like, meeting of the minds is on during work for me. So sometimes I'll pop in or out, whatever.
Right.
But for them, it's the evening there. They've finished work. Most of them have, either numbing their pain with alcohol or drugs, or just popping more pills. I mean, meeting of the minds the other night, almost every one of them admitted they were on antidepressants. It was incredible.
What was the go with that? I've never even heard of this. Zoloft. They're all smashing these drugs. They're all fucking doing bongs live on camera. I mean, vodka's blind.
Yeah, I don't mind the bong stuff, but they do say in America that pills are an epidemic, and Zoloft, Lexapro,
Yes.
Prozac, you
Yes.
name it. I mean, they're all popping them.
Right. Yeah, they're all on their antidepressants, and then they get their weapons, and they're going into schools and doing God knows. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's nice we're recording this afternoon. Recorded Manners Live today with John. I was, my internet was so bad at work, I almost fucking just left after 20 minutes. I was so frustrated. It was really annoying. It was really annoying.
at least John got some calls up.
I know. He got the calls working finally. He bought some new tech. And I thought the show got better. BA and Mayo joined. So the show got momentum. I had to leave my own show because I thought it was going to finish at 11 and they just kept going without me. And I came back to close it. But thanks for everybody that stuck with it. The internet was just a bit dodgy. I don't know what happened. But no, my wife did not get the router in the separation. It was just it's as much as I love my country, our internet speed is not one of our strong points.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah,
it's very terrible.
I do like that. You obviously you have to be a Kane backer, but his call is too insufferable even for you.
What was that?
His call is even too insufferable for you. You had to shake hand him.
I think sometimes as a leader and as a mentor to someone, you need to step in and save them from themselves. And what was Kane crapping on about? I mean, I kind of blocked this whole show out because of the internet. Was he going at Mayo? Was he screaming at Mayo at some point? He was. Yeah, he was screaming at Mayo for not doing Minifandom or something. And then he got into something else. Kane is, I don't know. He's one of the great talents of the Minifan world. Like his emergence, parallels beanbag Ron, like two fucking losers who couldn't string a sentence together on microphone, half their brains missing. And 3 months later on the Manners Minifan network, they're fucking stars. What does that say?
So you're a Ron fan. I didn't know that's where that was going.
I've always been a Ron fan. Well, I birthed Ron. I mean, me and McFuss Daddy, we brought Ron into this world, and thank God, because they would have been so much worse at basketball if it wasn't for us.
Do you have an ETA on McFuss Daddy coming back?
No, he hasn't responded to any of my messages. I think Ron and Fuss have been in touch. I don't want to pressure the guy because if he needs a personal break, then that's fine. It would be a shattering blow if he just popped up on John's network, though, in a couple of weeks. I don't think I could take that, him leaving and then coming back again and then going back again.
Get him on as a guest. That leads to another question I had we talked about it a little pre-show. Is Jamie, where's our other Aussie? I know you said you reached out and sent him the link. Has he ever responded to you in the last 12 months?
Yeah, we've been in touch a little bit over the last... I can't remember when we were last in touch. And he said he was still sort of listening to the show.
Sort of listening.
Yeah, but I haven't been in touch with him for a while. I have to make more of an effort. Again, you must... Do you sort of sometimes reflect on how I paved the way for you? I was like the trailblazer from Australia on KMS.
You're going to have to explain that one because I know I came on the show and, I mean, I fucking shit the bed. I was terrible. I don't want people to go back and see that. But that was 3 years ago now, I think. I think that's 2021. Yeah, and then nothing since. Right, and then nothing. It's not like we've been talking. And then this year, we decided to make the jump right as the networks split, by the way. We're opportunists, I'll admit that. So can you explain your influence?
Well, I just think by watching what I've done, you've been able to probably be inspired, but seeing a fellow countryman, runs a successful network, make waves on the KMS show, you have to say it's probably been, giving you confidence that you can do it too.
Sure, yeah, exactly. It's all those Manners lives. Very inspirational, very Australian-centric. You bring up a lot of Australian topics. Yeah,
that's
exactly
right. Is Luke the worst person you've ever met and worked with? Your Open Borders co-host? Because most people listening don't know who this fucking loser is.
Most people listening to this won't know who that is.
No way.
Well, you've got like a lot more listeners than the Kirk Minahan Network shows.
Minifandom is a strong brand. We've been going for years. Thousands of Minifans subscribe to this show, and I've never heard one Minifan. So we get in this meeting of the minds bubble, and of course, those, as I mentioned, those depressed losers who we mentioned before, they know who Luke is, but most Minifans, if you say Luke McKay or Open Borders, they will look at you like fucking with a blank face. Like Open Borders has never done anything interesting. No. So yeah. Whereas if you said,
if you say this, you don't watch it.
No, I've never watched an episode.
Right. So what the fuck are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Well, but if no one's watching, it doesn't matter.
I think you do it out of spite. Like, what shows are you watching on the network?
There's not really many shows on either network at the moment. I mean, I watch most of them. No, don't watch that. I do watch BAP when that's out. I'm sure Mick will pop one out pretty soon. I don't really watch the drips. It is not bad as like a going to sleep show, just they're sort of monotone and put it on the background. What do you talk about on Open Borders? We may as well give it a plug. What do you talk about?
Nothing really. We just fucking ramble about whatever. It's like any other stupid podcast. We just go over what the fuck happened the last week. It's actually surprisingly not Kirk Minahan related for the most part. We'll give it 5 minutes. It's sticky. We're very sticky. It's good. A lot of bits.
It's not good.
But it's funny. Sure. It's funny. You would have no idea because you'd never tune in. I guess my thought would be, who's more hated in the world? Would it be Luke or Kane? I'd say that it's definitely Kane guy. I like Kane.
It's definitely Kane, but it's definitely Kane. But Luke's irrelevant. Luke's never been in there. He's never said anything interesting. He's never had an opinion that anyone cares about. So of course it's going to be Kane.
The flagship show is Mike and the Minifans, and Luke's been on there a couple of times. He's going to be on this Friday, I think. So that's pretty groundbreaking.
Another disaster waiting to happen. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice kid. I don't know what he's like generally, but he's just one of those losers that they just like to attack me to get clout. They go, I'll just say something mean to Manners because it'll make me popular. And in the end, he's got no real depth or he doesn't have anything interesting to say. But yeah, look, I will watch the next Open Borders. I promise I will watch the next Open Borders.
Well, I can't even confirm there'll be one because Luke's a tyrant and he's trying to take over the entire network. He's been seemingly out on our show. So we did address it at the start of the last show if you want to check that out.
Okay.
Right. But who knows?
Be sure to check it out.
Everybody in the world's going through mental breakdowns. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't know. Even his number one super fan, Tim Smith, is announced today he's checked out. I know that's really big news. He's out on Luke.
Tim's like got some mental disability, clearly. Like I feel
but we all do. This world is full of idiots.
Yeah, no, but like I think there's something more there. Like, yeah, I think if we met Tim, would be like, oh, okay, let's be gentle with this guy. And I would almost feel that with Luke as well. Like, I'm sure there's something underlying the way he is, and I'm reticent to really pile in on him.
I think it's the drug.
Mental disability is tough.
You've got a lot of experience.
Just seeing people deal with it.
Right, okay.
All right. So the one thing about Minifandom is we can sort of just take a step back a little bit, and it hasn't been a show for a while, Minifandom for a while. And, whereas Men is Live and, other shows where you get quite into the day-to-day of KMS, sometimes it's good to step back. And I don't know, like, sort of broadly speaking, do you think it's been a good year for the show?
Yes. I think I wasn't ready for examples. I think the Tommy stream, is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
You're a big baseball guy. Did you know all these names? Did you know Frank Robertson?
Yeah, I don't think I would have been. I don't. I'm not stats crazy like Kirky's. I don't think I'd have been like. There was a couple on that top 10. I just don't think I would have got.
I think that was at times that was the hardest I've ever laughed at this show. I don't think Coleman was a failure. Coleman, I haven't turned on him as hard as I have on anyone. Like all the other producers, they kind of just whimpered away. Coleman, I just hated as soon as he quit. Because I don't. By the way, I just don't understand how you can not fucking turn up to a job on time. It's insane to me. But anyway, that's off topic.
Even on Saturday,
it's a planned bit. Are you really being defensive about this? I mean,
no, but I think
they had plans.
I think.
What was it, 9 a.m.?
Yeah, I get that. Well, 8 a.m. I think, but I think when you look back, and Justin had happened to him a couple of times, so it really seemed like Coleman disrespecting Justin. I think that's what it came down to. Because as Kane makes a very good point, like no show thing was ever late. Like it's not like Kirk was ready to record and Coleman wasn't there.
It's true, but I guess it's really fueled the talk of he was using this show for clout, and he never actually respected it or gave it any shit. He just wants to jump on a ship. His ship sank, and he wanted to jump on something, and he found
absolutely, definitely.
So I don't know. It's sad. I got fucking mad at him. It made me furious. But he brought a lot of good stuff. I mean, a lot of it revolved around him being a fucking lying snake. But I guess that was a lot of the Steve era as well. So
yeah. No, I think it's been a good year. I think it's been a solid year. Kirk himself has had a terrible year. Like,
why?
Well, because he had last year he won everything, and then this year he's just he imploded in the golf tournament. The dozen was a disaster. I mean, that was maybe the worst title defense in any sport in any championship ever. He himself personally hasn't reached the heights he did last year, but I
didn't enjoy the winless basketball team. I know you loved it.
By the end, I was into like watching it, but I mean, again, they didn't win. Like, they didn't win.
But when Paula was in and they were up at halftime, you weren't.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was great.
Getting pumped up.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, they probably would have won that game if Kirk hadn't left the dozen early. People criticize me for that take, but it's so true. No, I enjoyed the basketball. It was something different. I'm glad we're not going to get any more. I think they did the right thing pulling the pin on it.
You don't think it's another sporting bit? Because Kirk clearly loved it. So you don't think there's any... Like, he was passionate as shit. I mean, I don't know if it was real passion with elbowing a referee and, and abusing everyone in the crowd. I'm not going to comment on how real that was.
I think they should try a different sport. So whether it's pickleball or softball. I'd like to see softball. See some of those fat, tubby Minifans running the bases.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I've got fat guys on my team, and it's fantastic. Yeah. They're like scorpion when they try and dive into base. Their legs come up over their head because their guts are so fucking big.
Yeah, and
who is the fattest?
I would like to see. Take your pick. I would like to see Josh and James do a different sport. I think that'd be good. See if they can do baseball.
I think softball. There's no doubt, because I know you're a big Timeout Talks fan. So that they cover all the bases. They cover all the sports. Big baseball guys.
Do you ever listen to that show?
I do it every week.
Is it good?
Listen to all the shows. I like it. Is it the most popular? No. There's about 7 of us in the comment section. I think John's in the background producing that one.
I think Josh could do better with his sidekick. I think.
No. See, if you listen to that show, James isn't on the show. He's got a guy named Ben.
Okay.
Who has he's like Barry White. He's got the sexiest voice. Who was that? I don't know if it's in Sydney as well. But there was a late night love song dedications. Did you have that up in Sydney?
We did.
The guy who hosted it for so long. He's got the really deep voice. looks.
Yeah, he died not so long ago, I think.
He did, yeah. He's Ben, his offside has got a voice like that. It's the sexiest voice.
Richard Mercer. I
think, that sounds about right.
Great. For all the Aussie listeners, there you go. Yeah, fuck it. We always hear you talking about Boston radio all the time. Like, it's your turn. Let's talk about John Laws for 2 hours. Alan Jones.
Oh, yeah, great man, right? You're a big fan? 2GB.
I'm not a big fan, but he's like a radio genius. Like he just knew how to push the right buttons.
You talking about Jones?
Alan Jones, yeah, absolutely. Like I don't agree with what he says or the way he is, but he was a genius. Like anyway,
right.
let's move on. No one wants to hear about Alan Jones. Maybe Tim in Canton will message us. Oh yeah, I used to listen to Alan Jones all the time. I bet you.
Yeah, do you reckon he does that to our country like you did with WEI?
Well, Tim said he's like rung like ABC Australia, like he's tried to ring radio stations in Australia before and got through. So, absolutely. So yeah, good year for the show. I think.
I don't think you can argue that it's been full. It's been full of good bits. Like, nothing was as bad as like the end of the Cullinane era.
Yes, that was the end of the Steve and the end of the Cullinane were bad. And I guess the good thing about Coleman's, and I'll give him credit, he cut and run pretty quickly. Like he didn't hang on. He didn't think, oh, I'm just going to mail it in and see if I can get through to the end of the year or anything like that. He saw that it wasn't right for him, and he was out the door pretty quickly, which is admirable because there was probably only the last couple of months where I thought he's kind of starting to mail it in.
Really? Mail it in. You don't know, because you say it's not for him. You don't think he was suited to the show?
I don't think it was his style.
Delete his account.
I don't think it was his style.
Not his style. Didn't he love the banter? He clearly loved the banter, no? Or do you think the world got to him?
I don't know what the real Coleman is because, you see him with Alex Bennett and Kim, he was a different person. You see him on his old sports shows, he's a different person. Like, I don't know what the real Coleman is, but I'm pretty sure it's more like, what's that podcast with the gay fellas from Barstool?
Fuck.
Anyway, anus? No, that's not. No, that's not it. Anyway, whatever that show is, I don't know if it's still going. I think that's more Coleman's vibe. And yeah, I just don't know what the real.
You think he's
Coleman
genuinely gay? You think he's actually gay?
Yes, 100%. 100%. That's probably the thing that is plagued him the most in this job. Like his sexuality is in front of him the whole time, and he can't embrace it yet, even though everyone around him knows it's there. But I think to answer your question, I've sort of danced around this. I don't think the real Coleman was KMS. That being said, he did work hard. He did try and have cuts ready. He did try and make it him. But I think originally he saw it as a step in his career. So, okay, he got fired from Barstool first. Now he gets hired back. This is a way back in. And then
is he trying to fail upwards?
No, but then what I've said before is once he realized, well, Portnoy hates me, so I'm never getting out of KMS. My job at Barstool will always be KMS producer, and that's it. I think he kind of realized maybe he needs to pursue other avenues. And I think it's bullshit. He wants to get a real job. I think he's doing what Steve Robinson did. He's just saying that to keep everyone away. But I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up working for Alex Bennett or he pops up working for some other ex-Barstool person, because we know he's got money, so he can take a low wage and just give it a crack somewhere. Yeah,
I've heard that he's co-host on that. What was that podcast he did? I know he did 100, but his main one that he had a bunch of episodes. Apparently, he works for DraftKings. So
yeah, right.
There's an end.
So I think
sure
he just
pay shit there.
And to be honest, I can see why you wouldn't want to work at Barstool. Like if I'm a normal person, and I'm not a normal person. If I'm a normal person like Coleman, he clearly just wants to get a paycheck, go home, sit on his fat ass, and keep eating. So if that's the case, Barstool's not really that place. Like, you've always got people on you. You can't get away with anything. You know, if he slept in at DraftKings one Saturday and was an hour late, it's not going to be, you know, plastered across the internet for the next 2 weeks. Maybe he gets a warning and they're like, if you do this 2 more times, you're fired. But, you know, it's a different type of environment. And, you know, Jared Carabas kind of said it when he was on with Kirk. He loved Barstool, but it's a certain intensity to it and an edge that is not normal.
Carabas, is he still relevant at all?
I think so. I mean, you know more than me. You're the baseball aficionado, but
yeah, but I don't seems follow it socially.
He seems to be doing pretty well. I find it hard not to like Jared, even though we had that famous clash. When he clipped me shit talking his mental illness, I like that tweet fucking went viral. Like, it was insane, like the shit I was getting. Like, and VD was in it as well. We both copped it. Like, we both got multiple death threats. Yeah, like, you know, that it was the video had like 500,000 views.
Really?
Yeah. So, but you know, apart from that, me and Jared are, you know, better. I think Kirk's right. His time on KMS is done. I don't think he should come back in.
No, I didn't hear much talk about it, but his last episode was a stinker.
And if he came in, it has to be with someone. So he's the third guy and can just sort of jump in and out. Can't, you know, and honestly, Jared's not that interesting. Like, it's not like it can just be the Kirk and Jared show for an episode. Like, when Whitney's in there, it can be that. You know, it can be a bit, whereas Jared doesn't have that same charisma.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's only so many arse-eating stories we can hear.
I was a big Section 10 listener, like really big, from 2013.
Not anymore. That's still going, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I stopped listening to that years and years and years ago, but I listened to it for a while, like quite a few years. I like Steve Perrault.
Really?
Yeah, nice guy.
I thought he's notoriously hated. Or is that just a
I really like him. I think he's the more talented of the two of them, to be honest.
Who's the other one? Bryn or whatever?
Well, it used to be Pete Blackburn in the beginning. Pete Blackburn was the other one.
I don't really know who that is.
He's sort of more a hockey guy, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, we've lost Coleman. I think Kirk seems pretty happy with the show at the moment. He seems just cruising, but I sort of feel that he needs a spark in his life. He needs, you know, we had the producer search, we had the basketball. I feel like he needs something to get through to the end of the year. You know, something. What could it be, Jackson? You know, is it a new producer like Mick or John, or is it that kind of thing? Or I don't know.
Is this a loaded question? Are you about to throw something out?
No. I sort of think, okay, we're in halfway through summer. The show's, I think, running out of steam this year. So it's been a good year so far, but it's time. You know, I think in the last couple of weeks they've just been struggling for content, and so I just wonder now, you know, what's going to be the thing that propels the show forward the rest of the year.
Have you not been engaged in this Twitter storm of the last 24 hours?
With the Justin v. Mick?
Yes. I know that's not going to carry the show.
No, I want to get into it. Yeah. So okay, that's a good point. I do want to get into the minutiae, but okay, so big picture then, Jackson, right? So say Kirk goes, I'm going to hire Mick, right? Are you happy for the show, for the rest of the show, say this year, we'll just break it down, to be, okay, it's going to be Kirk pitting Justin and Mick against each other as a bit of a game. Kirk loves doing this, and Kirk is the master at fucking winding people up, and then he gets them on the show, and then instead of fighting with Kirk, they just fight with someone else. So Kirk's the master. Is he going to sort of be the puppeteer and have Justin and Mick sort of drama for the rest of the year? Because, you know, there's no so do you think that's a good strategy as a listener? Would you be like, oh yeah, I'm happy to see this play out, like a fight to the death between these two?
It's tough
Metaphorically.
because it's kind of been and done. But what I would say is, if you asked me that a week ago, I would have said yes.
Mm-hmm.
But after the last couple of days, I think that it's more likely Kirk says "fuck off" to Mick.
I agree.
And that's it. I think it's twofold. Like, I think I would much prefer Mick not be the producer. That's not because I don't like the guy. I've said it before. Well, I thought he was going to be a subdued Mick. I didn't realize he was going to shit the bed immediately and just completely implode. So I think the implosion is going to lead to him not getting the job. Is Kirk going to do his little thing of dangling the job over his head and then saying no? Because I'm sure Mick assumes he's got the job, right? And I think that if he does get the job, then he is going to play the little puppeteer game. And then we've all said 3 to 6 months. I think it'd be a month, and Mick would implode and see you later. That's it. And he would leave.
Storm out of the studio.
Yeah. And then maybe we get the little Gus treatment if he comes in every month or 6 weeks or whatever and does his bits. But
so I don't want that.
No? What do you want?
You saying it makes I'm realizing I don't want it. Like, I don't want the Mick drama. I don't want the fake bits. I don't want the fake fights. I don't want I want a fucking good show where the producers, what their goal is to get the best out of Kirk, not Kirk fucking pitting them against each other.
Right.
Like, what a good producer does is go on.
You go on. Well, I was going to say, I hate to be a homer, but that's John and Scranton's strength. Is he can shut his mouth and he just handballs the topic out there and lets Kirk fucking rant and rave, Whereas your Gus's and your Micks, it's very much centric to them. Right. Yes. And that's not what you want from a producer. They're a producer. They're there to throw out topics. I do agree with your thing of pushing Kirk to take phone calls at least once a week. They're gonna have some balls and put their foot down a little bit. I mean, you can shit on Cullinane all you want, but he did have a bit of that. He had a bit of he would fight with Kirk a little bit. So I think
and find things that are gonna excite Kirk, whether it's interviews, whether it's different quirky shows. Like, I think, if Justin had found like a vintage diner on the way back and just said to Kirk, hey, there's this vintage diner in Michigan. I don't know exactly where they were driving, but Indiana or wherever, we should stop there and do a show. Kirk would have been like, yes, we absolutely should.
I don't know. So to respond to that, I think that Justin solo or with Mike or whatever does that stuff. He's gonna do all that. I think that is his strength. He does that quirky shit like driving down Delaware subway. But I think when Kirk's involved, he fucking shits himself.
That's it, exactly. And that's the problem. I think, like, what there needs to be that. Like, there should have been a couple of shows on the way back. It would have been good content. Matter of fact, that's actually when it would have been good content, because you got Kirk's fake bit. Like, all this fighting at least could have been on the show. Even as bullshitted as is, it would have been better than it being on Twitter. And then just back to you mentioned John and Scranton, and I said this on Manners Live, but I don't know if the internet cut out, so I'll say it again. One thing John has, and I hate complimenting him, I hate it, but I do like the guy, but I hate complimenting, because the problem with John is the more you feed his ego, the more he talks. So I got to do this in a way that doesn't make him talk a lot. But basically, it's on the meeting of the minds. He has shown an instinct, whether I agree with it or not, to let things play out. And they're not always about him. He will sit back. He will get on crazy people. He does, like you said, it's not the Gus show or the Mick show. It's, and I think sometimes John goes too far. Like, he lets a rapist like Wagon on Meeting of the Minds. But still, he's shown an ability to do that. So if Kirk wants someone to do that, that would be good. I still don't think John can really push Kirk, but he's older than Mick and Justin, so he's maybe got the ability to do more of that.
I do agree. He's the nice guy. I'm still. I know you don't like him. I'm still not out on Quinlan. Quinlan listens. He's combative. We don't know him well enough to know if he'd make it Quinlan centric. That might be an issue. As a
Kirk hates Quinlan. Or not hates Quinlan,
You
but
don't-
I
you
don't think
do
he's got
that.
much time for him. What?
Why? Why? I
Well,
said
I
you
just
don't
think
do that.
maybe I do. Quinlan pussied out so badly when the heat was on him. And I don't know if you've noticed, but he's only popped his head back in because has he taken a more prominent role in this radio show and he's looking for promotion and a bit more attention? So it's kind of weird timing because I thought like he kind of pushed the show away a while ago, but now that I think he's hosting a bit more now, and he won some
Do you listen?
award.
Do you pop in?
No, not at all.
Yeah, if you turn it on, he is talking.
Yeah, so I don't think there's an accident that Kirk's audience is based around Maine. There's a huge part of it, is based in Maine, and Quinlan knows that. So all of a sudden, he's popping his head back into the world just to show everyone he's got a show in Maine. I don't think it takes Einstein to join the dots there. Like, I think even Luke McKay, your retarded friend, could work out what's going on.
Yeah, but where are you going from there? Because I think Tommy probably gets a good pay rate where he is.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's going to get pay rights, and then through radio, where are you going?
No, I agree, but I'm just saying I think that's why he's interested in the Minifans now, because he's trying to keep his radio show going and keep his job.
It's a clout thing. You think he likes the attention?
Well, that's for sure.
Okay.
He definitely does. But more, he just wants people to listen to his radio show, so when the ratings come out, he doesn't get fired.
One name that came up on your Mike and the Minifans today that made me laugh was Craig Coney.
Oh, yes.
What are the chances?
It's a good question. I hadn't even thought of it. And I don't know what he's doing at the moment. If he was working for a podcast production company last time I heard, but he's very quiet.
Oh, what's his name? Yeah, what was that?
Anyway, the chances of him getting a job with Kirk are like 0%. Kirk has very little time for him. And I do think you want to move forward. Like, the show needs to move forward.
With who?
Well, not with Craig. Certainly not with Craig. He's perfect for the Blind Mike project.
This looks like you're trying to pave the way for your visa or your green card.
No.
Maybe I think the Mick thing you want to see if it lasts 3 to 6 months so you can get your affairs in order.
Yes, but I want to make sure whoever's in there I can push out of the way. Like, I've got to make that clear. Like, I've already sort of worked it out. So Justin stays, and he can stay on the drops. He can stay in like the one spot where Coleman was, right? And I'll take the second chair, but I'm executive producer. So
do you not remember when you went over there and you were like singing and chanting from outside the studio and they weren't letting you in?
Yeah, but that was when they wouldn't let Minifans in. Now they let every bloody Minifan in. Like,
right.
Wasn't
that Coleman era?
Was, yeah. I paved the way.
That. Oh, okay.
No, Menace started that. Menace campaigned religiously on Minifandom for Minifans to be the third chair. Again,
wow, you really are a trailblazer.
I am like the silent executive producer of the show.
Right.
But yeah,
so that's up to you.
Definitely not. But I do think he takes a lot of my advice to heart, and he puts it into good effect. Like the calls. I've been saying for 6 months he should take calls once a week, and he's been doing it.
He's done it for like 25 minutes total in the last fucking year.
Being sarcastic.
Okay, right. All right.
You listen to me sometimes selectively. So where was I? What was I talking about?
Coney.
Yeah, no chance. Zero chance. But yeah, so yeah, I need someone in the second chair I should push out of the way. Like Mick, easy. Just easy. Get him out of the way. If he's got the job when I get there. But I need to get there. I'd like to think I can get there by Christmas.
Okay. I'll believe when I see it. I know you are gunning for it. It's legitimate.
Great 3 up, 3 down last night. Hot looking Mama K. But some interesting downs. Mama K had Julie on her downs list because of her fucking up the bookings to the hotels. And she made a good point. Why didn't you just like message Sheldon and say like, is this a decent area to stay, or where's a good area to stay?
Has she ever done a good job organizing things?
Can't think of doing a good job.
I mean, she's clearly not getting 125K a year or whatever the hell, so I don't think she gives two fucks. She's not going to get back on the show again. Everybody hates her, and she knows it. So
I like Julie, poor thing. I really like her. It's just not quite for her being on the show.
I think you like her because she's a woman, though.
No, I think she's a really nice person. I don't think she should necessarily be on the show.
Who gives a shit about that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Minifans I think are fucking creeps and cretins. All right, so they had Down's list. Who are your favourite third chairs? This is a common question I like to ask all my guests on Minifandom. Obviously, Blind Mike's the universally undisputed number one second chair, and then there's the third chair.
I got to say, as a producer, I hated him, but I do enjoy Gus. I've turned around a Polar. Yeah, I like Gus. It comes in waves though, because sometimes he's fucking way too much.
It was bad last time.
It was bad last time. That was probably the worst show of the year.
Montante, do you like him in the third chair?
Montante is very good. I thought he was out on the show. I thought he checked out, but he came back recently because he was just away for. I know you were blaming the producers, but I don't know how much effort he was putting in. Controversial, but I love Mayo. I know you say everyone hates Mayo. I fucking love Mayo. Mayo's the man. Just so much clippable shit when he goes on a rant and says nothing at all. And Kirk goes, "All right, any other news stories?" I like the awkwardness.
So do I. I like Polar. I like Mayo. I like Montante.
I don't like movie talk.
You don't like movie talk?
No, I'm not a movie guy, so that gets tough. That's why I hated Clemmer. I hated Clemmer the entire time. I like Clemmer more now. Too much movie talk. Thought half of his games sucked.
Well, at the end of this fucking Minifandom, I've got my pop culture segment dedicated to Red Parents. I've got 3 movies to talk about. I'm
not going to know any of them.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to give my takes. And you can tell me what TV shows you've been watching. That's interesting. I think the third chairs have been pretty good. I think I'd like to see Mike in there every show. I'd like to see Mike in there every show, or at least some more people, more consistently. Like I love Montante in more regularly.
But do you want more regulars, or do you want just more random, doodle type?
That's actually an interesting question.
I like to bring it maybe once a week.
Yeah, but as like an extra. So you've got a strong second chair. So say Mike's there, bring in some random people to laugh at and to get
some more Beanbag Ron, get some more Tim Riggles.
Yeah, you never know. Like, what was the guy with the mum? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago. But the guy had the mum story and never saw him again. What?
Cheeks? Is that his name?
Cheeks. That's it. Cheeks. Yeah, Cheeks' mum. So I like all those kind of little bits and pieces. Well, I think Steve from Gloucester will be in again, because even if Kirk says you'll never be in again, he'll just come in a few weeks and go, "Oh, Steve's coming in." Like, so I think he'll get another shot.
What I think is going to happen is he's going to drop a few more of these consistency podcasts, and he's going to talk about how combative he's going to be, and then Kirk's going to bring him in, and he's going to be a fucking wet blanket.
Yeah, absolutely.
And apologetic and typical. I don't hate the guy, but God, he's sensitive as the day is long.
I find him, I guess he and Mick are put in the same boat. It's just a little bit tiresome. And I think that's kind of maybe the show, indicative of the show. Like, okay, we've done all this before. What's next? Like, we either need some new people to new bits, or we need something.
Can you admit if he was still on your network, you'd be defending him right now?
If Steve was still in, I support people on my network. I'm a team guy.
You've got like
but,
two.
yeah, I support both of them. But with Steve, I really got annoyed when he went in there and they said, "Oh, well, now you've made up with Gus. What's next?" And he goes, "Oh, maybe I'll hate Manners." And I'm like, well, "You're just so lazy. Like that's such a bullshit thing to do." After I supported
Did he ever hate
you,
Gus?
no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a clout chaser. I think it is what someone was saying on the show that he's just addicted to that dopamine rush of getting attention.
Yeah.
And so, poor guy's never had any attention. And all of a sudden he's got some and it goes to the head a little bit.
I agree.
It's disappointing. There's been news that the Minna Ladies show has been paused. So I don't know if you heard, but the Minna Ladies were going to do a new show, but unfortunately summer commitments have meant the Minna Ladies haven't been able to do it yet. So it's been postponed, which means it probably won't happen. Which is
Mama Kay too busy with her shopping delivery job?
Well, Mama Kay, I think it's was all of them.
Was that a lie?
Busy. What?
That story. I kind of side with Kane in this whole thing.
So Mama was saying she has a job where she delivers, takes food to old people or something. Was that what she was saying?
Something
and she
like
listens to the radio a lot, listens to podcasts a lot. Kane would keep saying, "Oh, you live in this really rich area. You're really rich," and she was saying, "No, not everyone who lives here is really rich. My husband's just a contractor, and I, work serving others." So I think it's like Meals on Wheels type thing.
I don't know. It just feels like she lives in what's the comparison? Like the inner North Shore,
Yeah, like double
multi-million-dollar houses. Yeah. And
he doesn't though.
I don't know. No,
I don't.
Is there anything like that in Boston?
Oh, absolutely. Boston's like Sydney, like super wealthy. It's a really rich city. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's like poor areas, like where Jay's from and stuff. But I mean, even if you listen to the show, there's obviously range, but people from Boston, there's quite a bit of money floating in. Like, Cinema Lords. He was like, he's. Remember the other Portuguese was saying he's a bit, he's from the good side of the Portuguese community. Yes. And Max Marsden came in from a very rich Boston. There's a lot of money in Boston. It's a rich Max, city.
Is that that's the Martini guy?
Yep. I still follow him on Instagram. So I still get windows into Max's life.
What's that called? Martini Reviews or whatever?
Yeah. I don't even know what it is, but I'll have a look for you. That's actually the one thing I do love about Minifandom is getting to know all the other Minifans. It's kind of I missed that. What's his show called? I actually follow his real page. Anyway,
the best insight though, what show like on network shows? Because I would argue that Meeting of the Minds is where you get the real characters and their real flaws. And their dark side.
There is Meeting of the Minds is having a bit of a renaissance lately. I don't know if it's summer. I think it's the fact that John's doing such a bad job on his network that the quality of entertainment for the Minifans is floundering. So people turn to Meeting of the Minds, which is sad.
Are you ever going to reconcile
with who?
The two networks. Like what's the progress there? Because every time that you and John get on a stream together, it ends up after hour 2, it ends up in negotiation.
Yeah, John just will not relinquish any control. He's a control freak. He's a power-hungry dictator. I've offered to take him under my wing and make him my subordinate. He'd still remain CEO, but
and what would your role be?
I would be like the managing director of both networks. So he would be the CEO of, he would still be the CEO, but I'd be above him. But I said, look, we can put in the contract that basically he can't be fired unless Kirk wants me to. So, I couldn't. And he just doesn't want to give up power. He loves his little piece of real estate, and I don't want to take that away from him. I've tried. I want to do what's best.
He's admittedly a big fan of yours.
Yeah, it's just a shame. it's a shame he doesn't want the best for the Minifans because I had a vision of how two networks would run. You know, there'd be sort of an A and a B channel. I guarantee Open Borders would be on that fucking B channel very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I wanted to do something great for the Minifans, something where they had a constant stream of entertainment. And
yeah, but you keep making these points, and then we're going to go back to the fact that you've got one show on the network, and apparently you've had another one that you started.
The point is, if I was running Kirk's channel, that would be different. Like, look at all you fucking leeches came out of the woodwork as soon as you realized you could get on Kirk's channel. And, you know, if I'd have been given that power and control, you know, I would have done great things with it, you know, rather than
but people said that the reason why people said the reason why they joined after the two networks split is because you weren't the CEO anymore. That's what people said.
No, that's such bullshit. It's a lie. That's such a lie. They did it to jump onto Kirk's Barstool channel. Why do you think Josh and Fuckhead are doing it? In case Josh wants to get a job in media.
You don't think Josh is a loyal KMS listener?
I don't know why you and Luke are doing it. I don't think you want a job in Barstool.
No.
But I think it's
Luke might. I don't know.
Yeah, but absolutely.
He's got multiple shows going on now.
Like, if you want, say, fucking Big Cat or Portnoy or fucking Kevin Clancy to stumble across you, it's going to happen more likely if on the main Barstool KMS channel because they probably all subscribe to it. And it clearly hasn't worked, though, because none of you are getting any views or ever talked about or any interest or have done anything interesting. But, John's one of the people that sucks the life out of things.
You were just complimenting him.
He's a nice guy, but he shouldn't be running that network. The biggest mistake in Kirk's career to date, it's not shitting on the Red Sox. It's not the Murchison stuff. It's not the chickie called the bitch. It's the firing of Joe Sanders from Mike and the Minifans. The poaching of that show was Kirk's biggest mistake. The axe, probably the producing talent we needed, and we don't have it. Now you've got PRC running Mike and the Minifans. So, every Friday now it's Fax, Luke, Vodka. I mean, Mike and I'm not exaggerating here. I hear from tens and tens of Minifans that Mike and the Minifans is unwatchable now. And I'm not joking. Like, since it's been taken off the Men's Minifan network, it's fine for the inside baseball people, but it's lost that appeal of being broadly interesting.
PRC is trying to find his feet because I think that I don't want to besmirch the show too much, but I think without him, it might be dead right now. After John had his little festival and Vodka spoke on his own for 10 minutes. That was a disaster. It required Kirk coming in and saving the show, which then put PRC in this spot to be the Julie of the network. And he dots all those I's, crosses all those T's very well. I think maybe he just doesn't have the insight into who's who,
That's true.
I like
maybe
Sig. A lot of people hated it. He had Mama K on the same show. I mean, you watched 3 Up, 3 Down. It was terrible, right?
Yeah. So I wonder if PRC. No. I agree. Sig was terrible. Yeah. Not 3 Up, 3 Down was terrible. Sig was.
I think these people don't quite understand exactly who you need. You need some. You need some combatants. You can't have 4 people who all agree on the same shit.
Yeah. PRC would do well to reach out to Joe and ask for some advice. He needs to expand his guest list. And I have to say, PRC is kind of and it's interesting because, he's bisexual, pansexual, whatever you want to call it. He's the sort of person that could bring both networks together because, he's a host on both channels.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Executive produces Mike and the Minifans. He hosts 3 Up, 3 Down. Maybe he's someone that can bring the Minifans together.
I guess. That really blew me away. What's your thoughts on all these new Minifans coming in and not doing their history? Not going back from day one and listening to old shows. Because I know. Obviously, when I started listening, I mean, it was 2020. It was only a year in, but I've re-listened like 3 times. maybe 4 times. I don't know. I get uncomfortable with all these new people who don't do their research.
Yeah, I get that in 2020, but I think now it's impossible. Like there's just no way you could ever catch up if you wanted to listen to all the shows. I mean, unless you're one of those people that can just, even then, if you're just one of those people that could have KMS rolling the whole time, like if you, so how many shows are there? And they're like 2 hours each. You know, you're talking about
but
thousands of.
You do the math. I mean, if you go back into that first 18 months, it was 5 days a week, multiple
so
shows,
you could never catch up.
3-4 hours.
You could never catch up.
Yeah, but my point is, if I could do that multiple times for the first couple of years, why can't you give it a re-listen?
Well, you were probably on the dole or something at the time, weren't you? Unemployed.
I mean, like obviously it does take. Yeah, right, exactly. Like every.
No, but even like okay, so but you. No, I think I think that's unreasonable to expect Minifans for a show that's 5 years old to be able to catch up. And some of the inside jokes go back to like 2012. Like I make jokes about Mutt from EEI and get, like no one knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's what the re-listen does is things get referenced multiple times. 2019, 20, 21, things get referenced. And you start understanding who guys like Bradford is and all these other names, Pete Blackburn, all these other idiots that you have no idea who they are. You start to get an understanding of who they are based on like Ordway, for example. Like I didn't know what he looked like or whatever, but I knew who he was based on years of listening to this.
Ordway just wanted to shoehorn my name in somewhere. He just wanted to say my name. Did you hear him just throw it out there like at the end? Like it wasn't even really appropriate. It was like basketball. I'm never too sure. Yeah. Anyway, I agree. Look, so on those new Minifans, I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I think I want to welcome new fans. I want the show to grow. I love that, people like Fax and PRC have started listening to the show in the last year. And I think it is impossible to expect them to go back, especially because it's 3. Okay, so say you're a big listener, yeah? Now, then just to keep up with what's current every week, you've got 3 shows. You've got the 2 networks. You've got Meeting of the Minds, which can sometimes be 3.5 hours. Like you've got like 20 hours of content to keep up with every week. So how are you going to go?
The new listeners are listening to, Meeting for the Minds and whatever other shit.
Fax clearly is. He's on every show.
To his credit, Fax has gone back and listened to the Benjamin Albright stuff and Chaps and all these things. To his credit.
I think actually what would be better, Jackson, is, and you can maybe think about doing this, like, and someone should do it like, what are the top 50 episodes you should listen to for a re-listen? The Steve, my good man. Like there's, I'm sure if, the Canorado, the Death of Steve, like we could probably as a group of Minifans come up with the Hall of Fame episode where Kevin got banned for life. We could probably come up with, that would, I think, be helpful for Minifans. And I guess
almost like Danny needs a new co-host for Quantum Kirk.
Yeah. It's very sad that show's gone away. But Danny's wife is just not allowing him to do anything.
That's ridiculous.
She's fucking tough bitch. Thumb on. So yeah, that's where I am with the Minifans. I don't think that the new Minifans, and they're all welcome. All right. Now, do you want to get to listen to questions? Have you got anything else you want to bring up? All right, now I've got to listen to Great. Listen to questions. This is from aforementioned PRC Coleman. How do you two plan to rebuild Australia's cultural identity in a post-Reagan society? Jackson?
Started listening to some more hip hop, started watching some breakdancing videos on YouTube. I'm thinking about I might set my phone up and show you some moves. Maybe next Aussie Minifan show.
Do you know she was like torn up on American TV. I think Jimmy Fallon even did a skit where the comedian he has on, I can't remember her name, came out dressed as Reagan and made fun of all her moves. She has been shredded, and I think she kind of deserves.
You're right.
She kind of deserves it. Like if you put yourself out there, I agree. Like people's mental health and everyone should have a go, and it shouldn't be personal. But if you put yourself out there to break dance at the Olympics, then you've got to accept you might get criticized. You also might get complimented, but not in her case.
Oh, so my thought is, so she has a PhD in whatever cultural something or other in regards to this. Her dance was about the colonialization or whatever of Australia, obviously. Do you think that these people who are so embedded in like a college system and they don't deal with any criticism, do you think that she genuinely thought that, like, has she gone through years of being told she's fantastic? Do you genuinely she thought she was really good at this and then had to learn the hard way? She's like 35, isn't she? I mean, she's not a fucking 21-year-old.
Yeah, so she was on the Back Page, which is a sports show here in Australia, a few months ago, and they played some highlights of the interview. Yeah, I'm telling for our American listeners.
Oh, sorry.
And she said she started breakdancing when she was like late 20s or something, or mid 20s, and she never thought of competitive breakdancing. This is was never an option for her, and then all of a sudden it was in the Olympics. So she won the Australian breakdancing championship to get in. But I just kind of wonder what that Australian breakdancing championship is, because the good breakdancers are on the street, and then they're not at some private breakdancing competition.
Right, they're hanging around with the Jays of the world. Apparently it's been debunked, but there's a lot of rumors that her husband was on the board of the Australian Breaking Association as a judge.
Well, I've heard rumors about that. I've also heard rumors that she wanted to get to Paris for her, she was a work thing. And to answer PRC's question, how do we plan to rebuild Australia's cultural identity? I don't think it will be damaged permanently by ray gun, but it is a cultural phenomenon. And I would just like to point out that we finished 4th on the medal tally, which is an incredible achievement for a little country like us. So our cultural identity doesn't need fixing. We're not going to have Kamala or Trump running our country anytime soon. So I would worry about your own backyard and leave ray gun alone.
I know it pisses off the Americans, but if you go per capita, we dominated the medals. We have such a small population. They've got fucking 360 million or whatever, and they were struggling against China. I think they won it in the end, right? But they were.
Yeah, they won it. I mean, I think they tried. They led
the bronze medals.
So per capita, well, actually, this is not. So per capita, Grenada was the leader on the medal with 2 medals. Dominica was second. St. Lucia third. New Zealand was 4th with 20 medals. Then you go down to Australia at 9 with 53 medals. So population per medal, 516,000. In New Zealand, it was 266,000. So that's pretty good. Now, I'm just going to try and find America here. So 516 for Australia. God, how far do I have to go to get to the US? 47. 47. Okay. And they have a medal per 2.6 million. So,
but again, we're going to go back to the point that they're all so fucking fat.
Yes, it's amazing that they win any medals.
I mean, they can do like hammer throw, I guess.
They
shut the bed in swimming, I think.
Yeah, it must be doping. All right, next question. Ted Sarandis. Would you two be willing to sing a couple of lines of Waltzing Matilda together? No, we wouldn't, Ted. We don't sing for you, you piece of shit. I will show your face for once, you spineless cunt. Do many of the network newcomers simply lack talent, or will they get better with time? I think this is directed at you, Jackson.
What? I had Ted Sarandis muted for like 2 years because he's a fucking annoying pest. And I won't say too much because I think I'm on his ups lately, so I don't know if that is directed at me. I think he's more. I know he hates facts. He hates the new guys. He is gatekeeping, as you say. So I think it's more the newer guys. But,
Mama K tore his fucking asshole out on 3 Up and 3 Down. He's walking around with a gaping big fucking hole now, completely hammered by her. So I don't want to discourage people from being involved with the networks. Clearly, like way too much facts, for sure. But these are the only people that want to get involved at the moment because Kirk has, kneecapped both networks. We hobble on like amazingly well considering it.
Yeah, but you talk about yourself like a talent scout, though.
I am. Yeah, I am.
So what are we doing?
What do you mean?
Where's the talent?
Yeah, but no one wants to be involved anymore. Look, how much talent can one man provide? You should have seen my coaching tree that Shark Minahan tweeted out. I mean, Jeff D. Lowe has gone on to great things since coming under my wing.
I mean, your shows today had BA and Mayo, two oft-hated people.
Well, those two are very talented, as you've just admitted. Mayo's one of your favorites. And
I think so, yeah, for sure.
And I had, thank God they turned up because my internet was so bad no one could hear me. All right, Ted Sarandis. Do you agree that the Mick year will be the best ever for KMS? No, Ted, I disagree.
It's a good week.
Yep, I think the Mick year is over.
I think so, yeah.
And do you think, and I said this on Manners Live, no one heard, but I think if he doesn't get the job, he might disappear. Because this would be like the third time he's been rejected.
Do you think that he would have, if he disappears, do you think that would have happened even if he didn't go on this trip and is the presumptive producer? Because, like I said, clearly he thinks he's got the job. Do you think he would have disappeared even if he wasn't put in this position?
No. I think this trip has broke him. It broke him. And it showed how fragile he is. And unfortunately, that was Kirk's worry about hiring Mick originally, that he was fragile. It's not his Crohn's, it's emotional fragility. And also, he was he sat there like a lump the whole trip. So that's not good.
The shows were tough.
Ted Sarandis. Why does Mike and the Minifans struggle when BA is not present? What do you think?
See, again, it's because he's an OG. He likes the OGs. So he's going to love BA regardless because he's an OG. Whereas when a Coleman's hosting it, he's going to hate it. It could be the best show in history, and he's going to hate it because it's not a 2019 listener. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing cricket.
I don't think there's a lot to Ted.
No, there's not a lot to Ted. He just cheap shots. As I said, I think Mama K made some really good points. All right, Red from Maine. Now that the Aussies have ended hip hop culture, who is next on your hit list? Good question. Good question.
I've got some thoughts on that. I mean, he's talking just broadly Australia, how we're taking over. I think we're taking over sports. I think it's hard to find American punters anymore. They're all Australian, and they're not all fucking 30 years old. We've got guys who get in there in college age. There's a couple. You're not an AFL guy, but have you ever heard of Dustin Fletcher?
No,
you probably haven't, have you? Okay, well, he's got a couple of sons that playing it. One kicks for Cincinnati, the other one kicks for Arkansas. And then the other big news is the number 1 overall draft pick,
Travis.
in the MLB. I mean, I think we've got Australian basketball players are very talented.
Cricket's taking over America. Cricket's taking over. America. Steve Smith just won Major League Cricket.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
You
got it, Red. Thoughts. You got a big-titted baby. Iowa Minifan. First question, why is your network so bad? It isn't. Second question, what can you learn from JFS to improve? Nothing, Iowa Minifan. Absolutely nothing.
Can you take your calls?
What do you mean?
Well, you get John to take the calls, or is that because the call's coming in from the States, and so you need someone?
Yeah, it has to be. You can't set up call-in studio in Australia yet.
Okay. Oh, just in general.
I don't think so. I'd have to run different tech, and then they'd be calling Australia. That'd be the problem. Whereas this way, they can call America.
Right.
You trying to insinuate I need to learn how to take calls? Because if I want to learn how to take calls, I'm not going to ask John for guidance. I'm going to ask anybody.
That's what I was
else.
thinking. John's very successful at taking calls, and it never screws up.
No, he's not. Hoodie in Haverhill. This is a Feast of Five hoodie. Is it emasculating to be in the presence of such a rugged and talented fellow Aussie like Jackson? I wouldn't say I'm intimidated. I think it's been a meeting of two great Aussies. That's all.
I would agree with that. The show is making a comeback. I don't know if we're going to do a repeat.
How old are you, by the way?
31.
31. Okay.
Well, what would you have said?
No, I wouldn't have said anything, honestly. I would around 30 makes sense. If you'd said 28 or 33, I would have been fine either.
Right. You would have been fine with that.
I mean, I would have. That's where I would have guessed. What about just last thing again? How did you find KMS again? What was your origin story?
Simply, said this the other day on I think Meeting of the Minds and cop some shit. But I think I was originally a Rico rider, so I'm old school Barstool. Pardon my take. What else? Like Pick Central, even just all sorts of these shows, and I got over a lot of shows. It was COVID era, and a lot of shows just sucked.
Yeah.
So I went on the app and I clicked Barstool Sports and just scrolled all the way down. I followed a bunch of shows. I thought I'll give them a crack. And I remember where I was when I started listening to. It was right as Mike went on his little sabbatical until December or whatever the hell it was. And I remember the first show that I listened to. Half an hour in, Kirk called a radio station. I think he called into a radio station. It was like August of 2020 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he prank called her, and I was crying, laughing. I was hooked immediately. Half an hour in, I was like, all right. I mean, I didn't understand any of the references, but you can understand the talent, I knew how funny the guy was, and I was like, all right, I'm all the way in. So then, and this goes back to my original point, is I finished that episode. I think I went back the next one back, and then I just went back to the start. And so what I would do is because I can listen to podcasts all day at work.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
When a new one would drop, I would listen to the new one, and then I would just spend the rest of the day listening to the old ones until I caught up, which took a couple of months. So again, that's why I'm critical, because if you can listen to 5-6 hours a day of podcasts, which not everyone can, I get it, but you've got these guys like Fax, who I like, by the way, but they clearly have a lot of time, right?
They should do better.
I mean, Fax, his baby's crying in the background while he's saying slurs on Meeting of the Minds, so I think he's got some time. I don't know.
The very least, you should go back and listen to all the best ofs for a start.
Right. The best ofs are a disaster, though.
Yeah, but I think that's funny. And some of them are like 3 hours long, so you get a fair bit of content. I know what you mean. I found this World War II podcast, and they had like 700 old episodes. And I sort of have caught up to most of them, but they're like 45 minutes each. They're not 3 hours. But yeah, no commitment. And when so how far into listening to the show did you realize like there was like another Australian Minifan called Menace?
I can't answer. I don't know. Probably pretty quickly, because I think you were pretty. You've been really involved at all points. I know there was a period, 2022 or whatever, when the network was kind of dead. I think it was Cullinan era. Network was dead. And I think Kirk refused to say your name.
That's true. Like a whole year.
Yeah, right. So there's that. But prior, there was a lot of talk. I knew all about you. I think that's why I shit the bed on the first show that I was on with you and Jamie, because I was a little intimidated. I'll be honest, a little intimidated.
I guess I'm a professional broadcaster in your country of origin. And I guess you would understand then some of my frustration, which is not too bad, but you would, if you lived in Northeast because of open borders, I'm sure by now Kirk would have said, bring in Jackson and maybe not Luke, but bringing Jackson. Like you could have been in studio by now, like on the show for sure. Like
Sure.
had we not, like as I said, we probably should like switch and find a local show to follow and do this.
Right.
As I said, we could do like a Hamish and Andy reaction show. Like
why don't we? All right. I know you wanted to do your unnamed show reaction show that obviously it's another Minifan Network failure.
Oh no,
we
I would like to do it. I would like to do it. Didn't say I was going to do it, but I would like to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. We could find a local show to do we could start our own local Minifan. Like, is there? But yeah. Anyway, point is, you must know you must be frustrated that you can't go in there.
I'm not a cloud guy. I really don't care. I do this. I do open waters for fun. I don't know. Meeting of the Minds is a bit of a joke. I don't really give a shit about any of that. I don't know if I'd be good in studio.
You wouldn't be good, but that doesn't
matter. No, I don't think I would be.
There's so many people that go in there aren't good. Like if you went in there with Mike or something, it'd be great. Have you got any thoughts to go to the States for a holiday? Like, is that a possibility?
I could do. I don't know. I think it's pretty difficult, isn't it? I don't travel a lot.
You don't travel a lot? Do you have a passport?
No, I don't actually. But isn't it really
criminal convictions? Is that it?
As I've said a few times, I'm a descendant of the First Fleet.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't count. They don't go that far back, I think.
They go pretty far back. They no charges, no criminal charge. I've actually worked for the police.
Well, you should go over. Yeah, I mean, you're young. I mean, if you can, it's not that expensive when you get there, obviously, and the flights are not cheap at the moment. But it's really worth it. It's really worth it.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't sell that as being a cheap trip. It's fucking expensive as shit.
Yeah, America.
Over it.
Just leave me over. What?
Wasting all your money.
No. Well, no. It's not that expensive, but you would love it. Like, and the Minifans are so nice. Like, you should one day try and go for a live show.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I want to. That's a frustrating thing about all the Minifans that don't go to the live shows. I find that insane. If I was over there, I'd go to all of them.
Yeah, like if there was a live show within 10-hour drive, I'd go every time.
No doubt. Because if we had one here, which would be nice, we need to do some more recruiting. But I'd fucking fly up to Sydney.
Yeah. I got a few Minifans reach out to me recently, Aussie Minifans. Sort of Barstool. A couple of guys a couple from Melbourne. They're more sort of Barstool-y, but they listen to a bit of KMS and because of the unnamed. What?
They've heard your name on the show and reached out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Potential third chair on the show here. Maybe one day if they get. But yeah,
the point is, I think you should go to the States one day. I really want to go. Which is you get so few holidays, and I want to go and fuck around in Watertown. It's a sad life. I've decided for myself. All right, I think that's it for all the questions. So let's wrap this up. A segment dedicated to Red's fallen parents and Red himself, who's going through a tough period. I believe he's got a couple of large lumps on his chest that the doctors are concerned about. It's been a while. I just want to say I saw 3 movies at the cinema last week, and they were all pretty bad. I saw Borderlands, which is based on a video game, and it was fun but very bad. Like it was very, it had Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart. Ooh. So Borderlands, bad. Then I saw Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, I've heard that's terrible.
It is terrible, but it was probably the best of the 3 movies I saw. Like it was just so kind of terrible. It was kind of enjoyable, but some of the writing and some of the plot lines were terrible. Like do not go to the movies and waste your money on Trap. But if you're at home, you could put it on and sort of have a bit of a good time. And then I saw the worst horror movie I've ever seen, Long Legs. It was so bad with Nicolas Cage and some chick. It was just awful. It was like,
and that came out this week.
I saw them in the last week. I think Long Legs might be the worst movie I've seen for a long, long time.
Okay, it's been out a couple of weeks. Do you think if we get callers in, we're gonna get Nicolas Cage commenting on that?
I'll make some obscure reference to the movie, maybe. I did see a decent heist movie on Apple TV called The Instigator with Matt Damon. It's not too bad. It's a free movie with Casey Affleck and Matt Damon.
Oh,
set in
I've seen a lot of
Boston.
ads for that. It looks good.
Yes, yeah, it's set in Boston. So there's, you see all of Boston, which is cool. I don't know if it's cool, but it made me miss the place. And I reckon, how many times have I been to Boston? Maybe 5 times, 6 times now. Maybe missed the place, but yeah, not too bad. The Instigator. If you just want to sort of sit on the couch and relax, I would say that's a good show. And I talked about it on Meeting the Minds, but I've just finished Baby Reindeer yesterday, and that was just. I know I'm a few months behind everybody on this one, but that was so disturbing. And yeah,
I know nothing about that. Are we going to give some spoilers out? Wasn't that really controversial? Wasn't there like a lawsuit?
Yeah, I think, yeah. You should. Do you have Netflix?
No, I have Amazon. Okay. That's it. I don't watch TV. I watch fucking like online poker, play FIFA, and listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and listen to old episodes of KMS.
Yes.
But that's about it. I don't know what shows I want to watch next. Apple TV seems to be going through a great phase of shows. I've heard Lady in the Lake's good. I've heard Presumed Innocent is good. So, yeah, hopefully I'll have some more reviews for you soon. I am seeing at the cinema on Monday night Dirty Dancing. They're showing it on the big screen.
Oh,
surely you've seen that with Patrick Swayze.
Nope.
You probably weren't even born when it was released.
No, definitely not, right? 87.
Yeah, Jennifer Grey. So that's okay. So he's in that with Jennifer Grey, yeah?
That's the scene where they do the pottery.
Yeah. No, that's Ghost. That's Ghost.
Oh, fuck. All right.
And that's Demi Moore. But anyway, so in Dirty Dancing, it's Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey and Kevin from Bristol and newer Minifans, Facts, PRC. Kevin from Bristol is one of the original Minifans who used to listen to Kirk on EI and call in and do voices. But in the last few years, Kirk has kind of ostracized him from the Minifan community. But anyway, Kevin from Bristol once, used to live in LA. And he claims, which I do not believe, he was at a party with Jennifer Grey and they kind of snogged. And if you give Kevin any time, he will tell you he was quite good looking when he was younger. That's what he will tell you.
He looks like a fake porn star.
I'm just telling you what he said. And he claims to have snogged Jennifer Grey. So I haven't seen Dirty Dancing since I've heard this news. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at her the same way. But on about once a month here in Sydney, in the cinema in the city, they show old movies on a Monday night. And it's Dirty Dancing. Then the Blues Brothers is coming up.
Seen that? Anyway. That's a great movie.
Which one?
Pulp Fiction as well. Blues Brothers.
I love that.
It's fucking 10-minute car chase scene.
I love that film. I love their music. I love that band. Their tour. If I could time machine back to like a couple of live shows, the band would be one. But then the Blues Brothers tour.
The band.
Yeah, the band. Yeah, the band.
You're a big fan of the band.
Yeah, they're my favorite band.
Really? The band?
Yes. Why?
Do you like them too? Well, I like their collaborations with like Bob Dylan, but otherwise I don't really know any of their solo music. Their own albums. You got a recommendation? Give me an album rank.
Well, The Last Waltz would be a good start. Their famous farewell concert. It's a movie and a CD. But then their self-titled album, The Band, they're called the Brown Album, but it's just called The Band with a brown cover. It's just about the most perfect album. And wow. they are. I saw The Last Waltz on the big screen recently. It was re-shown here, and it was the first time I'd ever seen The Last Waltz on the big screen, and it was like a religious experience. It was so powerful. I mean, there can't have been a more talented group of musicians put together than these guys. It was a moment in time we'll never get back again. That sort of mishmash of musics. And anyway, definitely check it out. There's quite a few band fans in the Minifan community and a couple of fake ones like Big Cat.
Fake.
Yeah, Big Cat's like.
Did you see the?
Go on.
Did you see today's Pardon My Take drop?
No, why? What happened? I don't listen to it.
He's got two of them on there.
Two what?
We're talking about Grateful Dead, right?
Oh no, we're talking about the band. He's the.
Wait, he's a band fan?
Yes, but he's also a Deadhead as well. He's here we go. Okay, I might listen to this.
Get to him on there.
Yeah, he's a Deadhead as well, because I don't know if you remember, but I think
I've tried to listen to there. I can't get into that.
I like the Grateful Dead too. There's some great stuff. Some of their great stuff. What's their band? Anyway, Ned Snark did a show on the network before that was for Grateful Dead and Minifans, like talking about both, and he was going to have Big Cat on there. But Big Cat claims to be this huge band fan, and then he didn't know like that they broke up and then reformed for whatever. He's obviously not a big fan. All right, well, look, we've gone for an hour and a half, so I think we better end this Aussie Minifandom. Right. Jackson, when can the viewers or the listeners hear or see you on anything? Where and when is Open Borders?
Well, depending on, this week it was 2 days late because, we'll give Justin the benefit of the doubt. He's on a road trip. You just needed to send John a code, apparently, and then John could upload it. It was something to do with Rumble. But generally Mondays at 8 p.m. they get dropped. Open Borders weekly. But again, it comes down to Luke and his debilitating mental illness to see if we're going to be back in as my dog barks. So that's that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm about to do. That's basically it. Don't check out Meeting of the Minds. It's a terrible idea. And then whenever I can, I'll jump on Mike and the Minifans. But I don't even know if people like me on there.
Probably not. Ted Sarandis definitely doesn't.
Not anymore.
All right, Minifandom listeners, you are the best. Thanks for tuning into the show. Remember, subscribe to the Mena's Minifan Network if you haven't. Subscribe to the Minifandom podcast feed. And I'll be back. Hopefully, it's not a couple of months before another Minifan.